Everybody, how y'all are? This week's installment of No Dust Monday is probably going to have a lot of information, and probably going to be long, because you know me, I'm kind of long-winded. So let's kind of like jump in it right away. If you saw in that in the previous video, we made these real cool looking, what the heck do you want to call them? Ride wrappers. And you might have seen me wearing his headband. Well, it's made by Under Armour or Underoos or Underall or something like that. And it's really amazing. I put it on in the morning and it felt kind of tight, but so it stretched out a little bit so it fits a little bit better. I guess I got a fat head. But amazingly, never once during the whole 8-10 hours that I wore it did I get any sweat or wetness off of my brow or anything down into my eyes. And yet, I don't know where the water went. I squeezed it, twisted it, nothing come out. It was, when I took it off, my forehead was kind of dry to the touch. It wasn't damp even. And where that water went, I have no idea. So these things are pretty nice. I don't know what the name of them are or anything like that. We saw them at Academy. We're looking for headbands to wear when we're outside, and end up picking this up, and it's pretty much worth the investment. Okay, so much for that. Now the next thing is I wanted to talk a little bit about that build video. The first one I put out was about 22 minutes or something like that. My original video, which is the director's cut, which I just released, is probably 40 something. I cut a lot out of that video to get one that would be kind of considered acceptable under the video constraints that everybody suggests you're supposed to have. And it looked real choppy in that. I wasn't real happy with it. So I went ahead and released the director's cut. It also, the first video also didn't show all the problems that I ran into, or issues, or oopses, or however you want to call it. And the interesting thing was, the first thing off the bat was a fail. I have done this before. You take two parallel square straight edges, and you capture your stock in between it, and you put a number of them on there, and then you make your marks on the top. You take a T-square, put it on the top, run it down, and you draw your marks, and they're all in the same spot because everything is parallel. In the same way that if you have some type of a space or something, you can go run down along the side of it with the T-square, and you can make your marks as you need to go along your pieces too, provided you know where your piece is located. Although it's just as easy to twist them around the other way, do it, and set your other marks up the other way. Anyway, everything was good, everything was square. I had checked all that before I started doing my marking. And these particular pieces, when I put them together, the 6 pieces were longer, than I normally mark. I usually end up with like 1 or 2 pieces that I'm doing at the same time. Well, my little T-square, I didn't bring it with me, that doesn't have a whole lot of lip on it. Whereas, but it was too short. So I went and used my drywall T-square, and the lip where it hangs off on the side like this, to make the T, was longer than these things were protruding above my side guides. And so it kind of bowed it. Well, when I went and started drawing my lines, I didn't realize that it was bowed. For some reason, I don't know why though. When I went to draw my lines, it ended up giving the lines a little bit of a shape to them, and therefore all of them were off. So I saw that, I figured that wasn't acceptable. So I sanded it all down and started all over again. Well, I had marked everything, including the little ends for the V's. But when I sanded, I forgot about those. So if you see in the video, you'll see that when I'm cutting these, that I'm kind of like double drawing and everything like that. That's because I was drawing over a bad mark that was on there that I don't think you were able to see when I was building it. The next thing that kind of was a challenge after that was cutting the V's out. Everything else went pretty good. It went in real good. There was a little bit of, trying to find the right size. Well, I knew it was 3/8 inch was for the head here, but trying to find the size, I think it was 11th, 16th, or whatever it is. The inside drill bit, I had to try a couple of them first to make sure that it went through all the way. And but once I got that done, everything was going along. In the original video, the first one, the short one, you don't see what had happened. I did about 3 of these, 2 or 3 of these when I was doing the countersink hole, and I'm going, boy, this is awful hard lining this up. This shouldn't be that bad. And I realized that I hadn't put a witness mark on my piece that I was putting up against. Well, that's when I went in there, and in the longer version, you'll see I drew a little line on there, and then everything lined up and drilled over there, and it probably increased the overall speed of drilling. Oh, probably at least 20-30%, 50%, who knows? And but that's another thing that wasn't shown in the first video that I wanted to show in a second. The other thing is that, and I didn't show it. It didn't come out very well in the long video either. And that's when I was making these. This all was supposed to have this real nice fitted look, you know, flat and everything like that, and just run right through. But my lines, when I set my lines up, and it's my fault, when I looked at them, they just didn't look right. I didn't like the way they looked. So I readjusted the lines a little bit and had it cut in a little deeper, and it's like an idiot. Instead of using my test piece, I just used one of my live pieces, and it just boogered it up worse than everything else like that. So I made the executive decision, and I just rounded them over on either end, and then it really looked bad because you had this thing hanging over this rounded thing. So I went and I kind of rounded these off and shaped them a little bit, and it actually did come out pretty good. I'm really impressed. So that was the other mistake that I did, or mess up, but it didn't come out too bad. And then the other thing that I had, and I'll tell you what, jigsaw is my least favorite tool. I tell you, everybody talks about how great a jigsaw is and everything like that, and I'll be honest with you, I hate that thing. But it's the only power tool that I have that will allow me to cut the V's and cut kind of scrolly stuff and everything like that. So it's kind of one of those necessary evil things. So now here I got this little square piece, and I'm trying to figure out how the heck I'm going to hold this thing and still cut that V out. Well, that's when using the screw type wooden clamps came into play, and it's like, well, that's a good idea. I just clamp it all down, get it all straightened out and everything. But you missed on the first video how I want to say how much of a challenge it was to get to clamp this down. And it's just because I don't use those clamps enough, and so it's not second nature as to which way you want to turn these things. So I ended up fidgeting and playing with it and messing with it for a good 15 minutes just to get it to where it clamped. Once I got it to where that clamped there, fine. And then I cut the V's, which I wasn't real sure about how they were going to come out. because I've never been able to cut straight with one of those. So I think, and I really like doing this type of stuff, and I want to do some scroll work or some curvery work and stuff like that. So I think on my next Christmas list, which will probably be in about 30 years, I'm going to put down for either a scroll saw or a band saw, and I'm not 100% sure which one. Because both of them will be very beneficial to the shop. Bandsaw would help me with doing resawing, plus some of the curve work and things like that. But the scroll, I can do that with scroll saw too. Since most of the work that I'm doing is 3/4 inch or less, most of it, not all of it, most of it, I'm pretty sure that I can get away with scroll saw. It's slower and it takes a lot of patience, but I'm pretty sure that I can do that. Plus, I can do a lot more intricate stuff with the scroll saw. So I'm not sure. The jury's still out. I do need something to help square stuff up, like for furniture work, because I don't have a jointer or a surface planer. But I've been getting along pretty good so far. So maybe I just kind of hold off on that and look for something to do a little bit more decorative kind of cutting. I'm not sure yet. But that was the next challenge, and we survived that. And then the last thing was this felt, and I think I explained that pretty good in both of them. All in all, though, they came out pretty good. This is one of these things that I call a blessing, and maybe I'm blessed with it, or I keep saying I'm blessed with it. But there are times in the middle of this project when I figured that these things were going to come out looking like poop, or they weren't going to be worth a dang, or it wasn't going to work, and it was kind of almost getting to the point of frustration, even though I was still being challenged by trying to figure out what I'm going to do to fix whatever I did went wrong. And I persevered, and they came out nice. They come out real nice. I'm really impressed with the way they came out, and they fit my needs very well. So, all in all, that's what we're looking at to do. And I didn't want, I felt the need to put the longer video out so this way you can see all the problems that I ran into and the things that we did to fix them. And yeah, they're probably not going to be on any kind of woodworkers contesting or anything like that, but they're going to be 100% functional, and they'll work fine. If you haven't subscribed yet and you want to see more of this interesting diddle coming out of this channel, go ahead and click on the subscribe button. Otherwise, thanks a lot, and y'all have a real nice day, okay?